This will not be. I got a chair with the back, bitch. Bougie. Bougie. Okay. Book 8, Sealed with the Disc. Maybe I will return to this at another point. But, this is in fact my least favorite book. It's like, this one beat out the Clique as far as readability. I just did not want what this book was selling, to the point that I did not finish it. But here we are, the beginning of August. I'm gonna get this book finished. I'm gonna get this video finished, and then we're going to move on. Because this is not torture porn. This is not a saw trap. This is just a fun little reading challenge. I'm a very particular person, and so when I have to do something, I normally like to do it in order of when I'm supposed to do it. And I cannot do that because I have not finished July's second book, this book. I can't get anything else in my life done until I finish this video and this book and just put it to rest. I do not want to read this book. I did not want to read this book. If I were a DNFing type of girl, this would be a DNF. This would be a 1. This book would be a 1 out of 5 stars. I just know. I got the first 30 pages in and kind of knew where we were going and didn't want to get on the ride. Which is untrue, because I did kind of want to get on the ride, but then part of the ride was really infuriating. And because these are like, there's only like one plot happening, sometimes you can already tell where something's going and you just don't want to see it drawn out over an entire like 2 weeks, or like, I think this book's like a week, 7 days of their life where every detail is, excruciating details from multiple points of view. I just could not get on board with this one. So I read the first half of the book, which is 126 pages. And those pages have notes. And then this one, the last half doesn't. I was supposed to read the last 20 pages, couldn't even get that done. No. So let's get into the normal parts of one of these videos, shall we? It's book 8, Sealed with the Disc. The last of the plaid covers. The Clique knows something that you don't know. Massey Block stands at the threshold of the most amazing secret room of OCD. But to prove the pretty committee is worthy of the honor, the girls need dates to Sky Hamilton's famous couples costume party. On top of that, Massey has to convince her old crush, Chris Aberley, to be Sky's date, or else they can kiss the room and their popularity goodbye. How will she ever get her girls suitable dates and melt Chris's heart? She needs to be a mind reader. Luckily for the PC, alpha status just happens to come with ESP. Not the actual superpower, but a secret weapon that shows them exactly how the boys' brains work. Christian Gregory loves super sensitive guys, and thanks to ESP, has her eye on a boy who loves the Notebook as much as she does. So why on earth is she going to Sky's party as the bride of Chucky? Alicia dismissed her crush Josh Holtz for having a bizarrely clean room. Then ESP tells her that Josh's sister's actually the neat freak, and suddenly hot Holtz looks even hotter than ever. Dylan. When ESP clues her into the fact that the guys, plural, guys, like a girl who's not afraid to eat, it's all mozzarella sticks for this former Jenny Craig groupie. Will gaining 6 pounds make her regret trusting her sixth sense? Claire Lyons. She's the only pretty committee girl with a real boyfriend, so this date mission should be a breeze. But when her newfound clairvoyance tells her Cam's hiding an A huge secret from her. It's not huge like Trump. It's like huge. Cam's hiding a huge huge secret from her. His gifts of gummies leave a stale taste in her mouth. ESP, extra sucky problems is more like it. Yeah, that's all I know from the first half. And again, because nothing happens. Nothing happens. This is the first book where I'm just like, none of this matters. Nothing matters. I think it's because I had a health issue for like the last like 2 or 3 weeks. But truly, nothing matters and nothing happens in this book. Okay. So, beginning of the book, we get into the basement. The basement, the secret basement that the girls have inherited. It's a bomb shelter from the 1950s. It's a bomb shelter from the 1950s, and it's 2 stories below Principal Burns' classroom. There's a juice bar and a popcorn popper. It's really cool and cute. Very girly. Very 2006. But there's this like thing. They have this screen, this TV screen for whatever reason in there, where they are getting intercepted feed of this quack TV therapist, Dr. Phil type, that is working with the boys at Briarwood to get them to talk about their like feelings and their trauma. They're doing therapy with the boys. You can see the camera is inside of a stuffed bear called a sharing bear that they have to hold to get a chance to speak. This guy's like, cool, you'll get the key to the room at the beginning of your 8th grade year, or at the end of your 7th grade year. But Tershik, a surprise. She flies in the Massey and tells Massey, hey, you guys don't get the room unless you have dates to my into my famous couple's birthday party, as said in the intro. Massey's like, cool, I gotta get my friend some dates. And also, Massey has to clean up where she left off by getting Chris Aberley to ask Sky to be his date to Sky's party. But Chris doesn't know that he supposedly has a crush on Sky. He's just like getting over his girlfriend. So all the girls have earned an invitation to Sky's graduation party. Woohoo, yay for them. But they can't go unless they have dates, which is an issue for Kirsten and Dylan. They have to remedy this issue by getting boyfriends. First, Alicia is like, I'm hot and sexy and boys like me. So obviously the boys are going to like me. But turns out through them going to this bar or dinner date situation, not bar, it's a diner, they find out that all the boys actually like Dylan because she like eats and is a person with them. And like, 7th grade boys love fart jokes. And what is Dylan if not one extra long fart joke? While they're at this diner, Massey to Claire is like, oh, you should flirt with Cam to show the girls how it's done and to give them confidence. Claire pushes it a little too far, steals Cam's backpack, and he's like really weird about it, even though like she shouldn't have stole his backpack. And she finds some suspicious printouts that are him talking to this girl Nikki. But who's Nikki? Cam gives her some candy and it's stale. Is it repurposed? Is it old? Is it from Nikki? Is it a cast off? Is Cam bad? Claire does not, in fact, bring this up straightforward, and in the next day or so, we'll hear from, in the sharing room, that Darrington is trying to press him to talk about this Nikki situation in therapy. there's no fun with Claire. I did not, there was, no one was fun. Everyone, it was so stressful. Everyone was stressed. Whereas, like, it's not easy being mean. Everyone was stressed, but it kind of had this, like, high voltage, like, interlocking Massey and Claire's friendship together. And, like, this was, like, pure fun. I really enjoyed this. I think this is my favorite book. I think we are taken right back here where no one is, like, everyone, all the main girls are on each other's side, but it's just, like, rancid. The vibes are rancid. Claire is always and constantly miserable, on the verge of tears. Like, if anything is happening, you can bet Claire is going to cry about it. Like, we get all these situations where we get to hear all the boys, and we're sadly, in Claire's point of view, worrying about Cam, so we don't get to kind of laugh at, like, kind of this, like, surrealist, wild takes these boys have where they're just like, I have one line that I know I have in there. A semicircle of 15 desks, each one occupied by a different Briarwood boy, flicked back at them. Immediately, Claire scanned the room for Cam. He was sitting a few seats away from the window next to Darrington, listening to some boy with a buzz cut who was in the middle of a rant. She shielded her eyes in case there's any possibility he could see her. It's like she swears I'm thinking certain things when I'm not thinking anything at all, said Buzzcut Boy. No way, Alicia gasped. That's Miles Burke, Bella's crush. She was crying about him today in the bathroom because he's been ignoring her. Shh! The girls snapped in unison, not taking their eyes off the screen. What kinds of things does she think you're thinking about? Boomed a deep, older male voice with a faint southern accent. Oh my god, it's Dr. Lonnie, squealed Dylan. He sounds just like he does on the radio. Shh! The girl snapped again. I don't know. Miles bit the side of his pencil. Like last night I was supposed to call her and I didn't. So today I get this text that says she thinks I have intimacy issues because my parents just got divorced. Well, what? I didn't call her back because her numbers were written on the side of my Nikes. My Nikes were in my room and I was down in the basement. And why didn't you call her after the game? I figured we'd talk today or something, but now she's mad at me. Would you call that a lack of communication? The voice prompted. No, I call it psycho. Cam laughed with the rest of the boys, giving Claire an instant ache in her stomach, her legs, her temple, and her heart. She would have expected Cam to understand Bella's point of view, not mock it. Had her seemingly sensitive crush always been such a guy's guy? I want more of the first half and less of Claire whining about he's a person. He's not just a whoop whoop whoop, a whoop 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 little pookie kitten meow meow. He's not my Blorbo. He's not Blorbos from my fantasies of what a boy should be. I'm sick of this shit. So, I actually came across just the wildest thing is that Massey gets not kidnapped, but she gets picked up by Sky to go over to the riding with Sky and this guy named Jared. Jared is my favorite character. Icon stat. Massey opened the door and slid beside a pink child seat littered with graham cracker crumbs. A nauseating, tangy citrus smell wafted off the orange cardboard happy face dangling from the rearview mirror. Was it too late to suggest that they take the Range Rover? Welcome, cooed the laid-back high school guy behind the wheel. My Christian name is Jarrett, but my friends call me Leaf. He swiped his shoulder-length butterscotch-colored hair to the left side of his neck. His round yellow lens sunglasses and tweed blazer were a little too wannabe sensitive poet for Massey's taste, but she couldn't help thinking how cute he would look after Josh Hartnett cut and a trip to Hollister. Leaf and I met at the dance-a-thon last Christmas, Sky offered. He was dancing to raise money for poor parents who couldn't afford to buy Christmas presents, and I was dancing to burn calories before a big jazz showcase. The next morning, we bonded over Sierra. Nice to meet you, Massey responded, feeling a little jumpy, like one of those characters in a Marvel movie who are ordered in the back of the Lincoln Town Car and forced to make small talk while they're being driven to the waterfront where they inevitably get shot. Can you believe we have 3 weeks left of school? Sky asked, her reflection in the side mirror as she straightened her double wire headband and tightened her butter blonde chignon. You private school girls have it made. Leaf slapped the steering wheel like it wasn't fair. You get 4 months off. I swear, the more money you pay for school, the less you have to go. We're supposed to use that time to educate ourselves in the real world, Sky said with a smile, like she knew what the joke was. And how are you educating yourself? Leaf took off his glasses and glared at her, full mock and doubt. I'm taking extra ballet classes in May and then going to South Beach with Isabella's family for a month. Then when I get back, it's straight to NYC to register for dance school. Very educational. And you, Massey? Hanging by the pool with the pretty committee. Then in June, I'd go to writing camp at Gallowalk Farms. Massey purposely sounded blasé to let Sky know that her long-standing membership at the exclusive stables was no big deal, even though it so was. She waited for a reaction, something like, oh my god, you have to be such a good writer to get into that camp, or I heard they only let billionaires join. But unfortunately, Sky didn't have a single envious word to say, which made Massey love/hate her more. What about you? Massey politely asked Leaf as they turned down Shadow Lane, the winding tree-lined road that led to Gallowag Farms. She really didn't care what Leaf was doing this summer. It was more about showing Sky she wasn't afraid to talk to older guys. I'm going to Peru to build a health clinic out of mud, straw, and pebbles. Massey burst out laughing, grateful for Leaf's dark sense of humor. His joke eased her rattled nerves. What's so funny? He turned towards the back seat. Massey's cheeks burned. Before she could come up with a decent reason for laughing at his earnest charity work, Sky interjected. See? She mused his long butterscotch-colored hair. I'm not the only one who thinks building a health clinic will take more than one summer. Massey leaned her forehead against the window, using the chilly glass to cool her flaming cheeks. Was there something wrong with her for thinking Leaf's summer plan, building clinics out of mud, straw, and pebbles, was a joke? Sky was obviously thought it was cool. Why didn't she? Massey was overcome with the sudden longing for the pretty committee, because they would have found it hard to believe too. She shut her eyes and waited for the loneliness to pass. I love Leaf as a character. I don't believe in missions, just in general. I believe it's colonization with a new hat. So, just the idea that Massey was like, bah! Tickled me. This was a me thing. Okay, back to my little script before we move on to the ending of this. So Claire's story is that Cam is cheating, or whatever. Massey's story is the thing with Chris and Sky, and she's supposed to be finding a boyfriend for Kirsten, but Kirsten then insinuates that Darrington is not mature, and it gets Massey second guessing. And because plot, she's trying to get Chris Aberley to fall in love with Sky, but he actually ends up having a crush on her. Maybe that's a pivot. And normally you'd think that Lainey and, like the back of the book says, Alicia finds out that Josh Holt's insanely clean room is actually the doing of him just like bullying the. Oh my god! I've had the chair for literally 3 hours. One of the buttons just fell off my chair. I dragged it out with my fat thigh. Even though, so comes from him bullying his sister into cleaning his room for him, which is wild, and it's even a bigger, you know, personality flaw that Alicia's into it, but whatever. Massey is like, how am I going to get Chris Aberley to fall in love? Well, luckily, at her new... They really said, we do not stay. Lane is like, I'm tired of my brother moping. He doesn't drive me anywhere because he's too sad. So I'm going to need to get this show on the road. And so she helps Massey do said show on the road. But they also do some other fun things, like sneaking into the school and destroying a water main pipe. Okay, so I'm going to read you the synopsis. God damn it, just open up the window. I'm going to read you the synopsis. Yes, of this book from Wikipedia that is a little better. Starting in the middle. The committee tries to use the information to fix their problem, which backfires. Massey befriends Chris to set him up with Sky, and is horrified when he flirts with her instead. When the hidden camera breaks, the pretty committee breaks into Briarwood to fix it, accidentally damaging the pipe. The Briarwood school floods, and the boys are sent to OCD to finish the school year. Massey realizes the boys are now the alpha, and declares a boy fast until they regain their popularity, much to Alicia's dismay. Okay, so I'm reading the last 30 pages or so, and what happens is Claire breaks into Cam's computer. I don't know what happened at the party. I am not going back to that. Claire goes through Cam's computer, and I guess it's only when I put weight on it. And finds that Cam was actively trying to get Nikki to talk to him, and that he wanted to be friends at camp, but that he only had one girlfriend, and it was Claire, and that he loved her, and that, you know, he didn't want her to send him things or IM him. It is really sad. She actually hasn't contacted him for 32 days, so it had been a while. Claire, after, I guess, accusing Cam, was like, I'm going to apologize. It's going to be fun, like it always is. Well, Claire calls Cam. She doesn't get him. She calls him, like... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After 11 straight attempts, Cam finally answered, "Stop calling me." So, obviously, Claire is traumatized. Whew. The girls go to they go to school on Monday, and everyone's in mourning. Everyone's in shock. Kristen leaned forward across Dylan, Alicia, and Massey and gripped Claire's wrist. Oh my god, I'm still in shock. He really said stop calling me? Claire averted her eyes and nodded. Then he hung up. Well, that's better than getting your inbox flooded with flash art pictures of pigs all weekend. Dylan sneaked a sip of calorie-burning soft drink. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Griffin is no longer talking to Kirsten. Griffin is the name of the boy that she was interested in. Darrington thinks that Massey's immature. And Massey's no longer interested in Chris Aberley. Massey shrugged, even though she knew why. The truth was she had forgotten all about Chris the minute Darrington told her off, and she had become obsessed with wanting to change his opinion of her, obsessed with wanting him to like her more than the 8th grade girls, and obsessed with figuring out the most mature way of getting him back. But why admit all that when it was cooler to act like it didn't even mean enough to mention? So... iconic. How'd you shake him? Dylan asked. He was so into you. I swiped his iPod, found that JoJo song that reminded him of his ex, Fawn, and blasted it. Sent him right back into a full depression. The girls kind of decide if they're going to lie to the rest of OCD as they figure out, hear the story of how, the most boy-savvy girls in school, managed to lose all their dates. As the Wikipedia article stated, Massey calls for a boy strike. We must rid our system of all the boy toxins that are clogging our pores, dulling our complexion. So what if we're the cheetah girls? We don't need... Does this mean I can't am Josh? Not if you want to be a part of the new pretty committee. Alicia bit her lower lip. Massey secretly held her breath while Alicia chose between boys and her friends. Okay, I'm in. Maybe the DSL daters need boys. Oh my god. Maybe the DSL daters need boys to make them feel special. But we're better than that. We're already special. So from now on, the new pretty committee is boy free. No more sadness, no more temptation, no more distraction. Gotta get baby hand. It will just be us all the time with clear skin and having the best time ever. Agreed? Agreed. Done, done, and done. Massey nodded at her Palm Pilot before shutting it off and dropping it in her gray Versace Madonna bag. And now, Principal Byrne tucked her wild gray Albert Einstein bob behind her ears. I have some terrible news. The creaking wood sounds of girls shifting in their seats echoed through the auditorium. Massey's heart started to race. She loved a crisis. Loved watching people get all worked up about things. It added excitement into her life, especially when the crisis had no effect on her, which this obviously didn't. Besides, it would be fun watching someone else in turmoil for a while, because she had certainly had more than her share in the past year. She had dealt with Claire moving to town, Alicia trying to start her own clique, Nina, the big-boobed boy snatcher visiting from Spain, her first kiss Darrington, getting expelled from OCD, watching Claire land the starring role in Dial L for Loser, searching for the key to the secret bomb shelter, prying it away from Lane, fixing up Chris and Sky, and wondering if Darrington would ever like her again. And now, finally, with the creation of the new pretty committee, it was all behind her. Whew. Principal Byrne cleared out her throat this morning. So this is when they learned that all the boys are going to be coming there. 250,000 gallons of water gushed onto the roof of Briarwood and the old building. Principal Byrne swallowed. Well, the old building. She just couldn't handle the weight. Her tears welled in her eyes, and she collapsed. Everyone gasped. Principal Burns dabbed her wet, beady eyes with a crumpled tissue she had plucked from her tweed blazer pocket. And now the institution no longer stands as New York State's landmark. Instead, it looks like the lost city of Atlantis. We are so dead, Alicia mumbled. If we're lucky, Kirsten mumbled back. I'm never lucky, moped Claire. Does this make us dead or not dead? Asked Dylan. Shh! Whisper warned Massey. You sound guilty. We are. No, Lane is. Be assured that we are doing everything in our power to find out what caused this tragedy, and we are consulting with several European contractors about building restoration. But it's a long process. It could take several years. Oh my god, Massey whispered, panicked. Oh my god, the new pretty committee whispered, panicked back. Massey imagined her summer, no lazy afternoons by the pool or vigorous rides on the woodsy trail with Brownie. Instead, she'd be sweating in a stuffy orange jumpsuit picking trash off the Interstate 287 with the new pretty committee, served right next for trusting Lane Aberley. So... the boys come in... The boys come in as new students, which is going to make this boy fast even harder. Oh my god, I totally forgot we hate boys. All the girls are chit-chatting about what the boys, which boy they want, which boy they're going to get. And then Massey concludes that the boys are the new assies are the new alphas, and she is. Olivia, our beloved Olivia, is talking to Cam and Darrington, and Alicia's miffed. Suddenly, Massey was overcome with flu-like symptoms. Her first instinct was to flirt with other guys, but as the founder of the new pretty committee, she couldn't, which left her feeling embarrassingly helpless and lost. Oh my god, if Olivia so much as talks to Josh, she's dead to me. Camp and Plovert won't look at me, Dylan whined. Neither will the LBRs, Kirsten gasped. What if our ex-crushes are the new 8th grade alphas and we're... The new what? Asked Alicia. Massey opened her mouth. No further explanation was needed. While the auditorium was buzzing with excitement and anticipation as the OCD girls and the Briarwood boys mix and mingle, Massey and Alicia, Kirsten and Dylan and Claire sat motionless. Their futures were clear. Their fate was obvious. And it could be summed up in 3 letters. 3 letters that would haunt them over summer break. 3 letters that would become their 8th grade nicknames. 3 letters that would mark the end of an era. I don't get to know what those 3 letters are. I guess LBR. So, yeah. This was July's 2nd book. Honestly, it just so much running around. You know, I like the boy drama that ends in, like, romance. And I could tell from page, like, 30 that there was no way this was going to end with anything besides heartbreak. Claire couldn't continue to keep getting lucky with Cam being super understanding. You know, Massey is mean to her boyfriend, and so that just wasn't going to last long. Dylan being rewarded for eating and being quote-unquote fat wasn't going to end in success. And Alicia has not redeemed herself enough to be a likable character enough for it to work out for her either. She's got to prove herself to be a good friend, and that means abandoning any boy. I still like Claire and Josh as a couple. I love a good girl, bad boy situation. I just think Claire and Cam is boring, and that Claire is too attached to him and is always worried about what he's doing. I hope she finds some respite so that I can find some respite in this. Yeah, next book. Clip from before. So the next book is Bratfest at Tiffany's. Right there. I'll see you when I see you. Could be at the end of August. It could be in the middle. Who knows? Yeah. This season of The Bachelor, I'm doing just like mini episode-ish kind of things if I feel like I have something to talk about. The first one should have come out before this, or maybe right after. I don't know which order I'm going to do it. I just, wanted to shake it up. I don't need to do a recap on everything. We're going to be finishing the My Scene Cinematic Universe soon. You know, it's a summer series, so we'll have that done before the end of September. I'm gonna pick a young adult, like teen, not young adult, a teen series from the last 25-ish, 20-ish years to start binge watching and talking about on the channel for what we're gonna do for, you know, into the fall and winter. I think that's gonna be fun. So I already have a list, but drop your suggestions down in the comments. You know, it's gonna be a good time. I'm gonna try and get that out for y'all, but no rush, no rush. Yeah, I have an end card. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. You might be saying, Megan, why are you opening up this bag? And I'll tell you, because I went to the beach yesterday, and I like to read at the beach. Aww. August's book, Bradfest at Tiffany's. See you in a couple weeks.